And this was about two women. And I'm sure that a lot of you saw this. I posted this on my Telegram channel and on my Instagram page. But there were two women who are charged with hate crimes for stealing a MAGA hat from a terrified 7-year-old boy and throwing it over the wall outside the DNC. So a lot of you remember this clip. This was outside the DNC. There were some Trump supporters out there, and there was this 7-year-old boy sitting on the ground. These two women come up, and they steal this MAGA hat from this kid next to him while he's sitting down, and then they walk away, screaming at the mother, ripping up their signs. The mother follows them down the block with her son, and they throw this MAGA hat over the fence. And then some black guy comes up and defends those two chicks and gets in the middle of this. And then the two chicks become more emboldened because they have this black man coming to their aid. And then they eventually, I think they get into a little bit of a physical scuffle. And now they're being charged with hate crimes for stealing this MAGA hat. So we're going to go through this story. It says, two women are facing hate crime charges after confronting a 7-year-old boy and his Trump-supporting mother outside the Democratic National Convention in Delaware and seizing a Make America Great Again hat. The pair were caught on camera on August 20th in Wilmington, a few hundred feet from where Joe Biden gave his DNC acceptance speech that night. They were arrested on August 23rd. On Tuesday, a grand jury in Delaware indicted Olivia Winslow and Cameron Amy, both 21, on felony charges of robbery, conspiracy, and hate crimes, and a misdemeanor charge of endangering the welfare of a child. Amy also was indicted on misdemeanor charges of assaulting a man who tried to retrieve the hat, attempting to assault his mother, and offensive touching of the boy. And so these are the two women here. She looks like she's 12. She looks like she's much older than 21. I guess age affects us all differently. The indictment accuses the women of committing the crimes for the purpose of interfering with the victim's free exercise or enjoyment of any right, privilege, or immunity protected by the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, or committed said crime because the victim had exercised or enjoyed said right or rights. And so this is very important. Now, we know that hate crime charges could be dangerous, right? These can come back to bite us in the ass. They have affected a lot of different people differently, right? A lot of people apply hate crime charges where hate crime charges don't belong. In the case of the couple that painted over the Black Lives Matter sign in California, they were charged, I think, with hate crimes. But I think that hate crime charges belong here. And I think that this is actually something I've been talking about for a while, which is that liberty only comes from order, right? We talk about this all the time. I say this over and over and over again. I give two examples, mainly, of what I mean. One of those examples is people being beaten up at rallies or political events for their political beliefs. We've seen this since Donald Trump. Before Donald Trump even got elected, we saw this at the inauguration. We saw this before the inauguration. We saw all of the people getting beaten up by these rioters, by these protesters who were Trump supporters in San Jose, California. That's another great example. People were getting chased down. People were basically literally being hunted, white people by non-white people, and beaten up in the street simply because they supported President Trump, simply because they were exercising their free speech. And so this is not liberty. People do not feel free to put a bumper sticker on their car, a Trump bumper sticker on their car. People do not feel free to put a Trump sign in their front yard. People do not feel free to wear a Trump hat out in public. People do not feel free to express their political beliefs on college campuses, in the workforce, in the military, now that we're seeing with this whole critical race theory and how they've declared MAGA hats in the military as hate speech. People do not feel free to do this. And so what's a way to restore that liberty? Well, we have to prosecute the people causing this violence against these people for their political beliefs, for their free speech, to the fullest extent of the law. And what does that mean? Well, that means hate crime charges. Hate crime charges need to be brought against anyone that is assaulting someone undeniably for their political beliefs. Undeniably because of political paraphernalia that they're wearing, or a bumper sticker that they have on their car or something like this. If someone physically attacks someone, and it should be very clear, if someone physically attacks someone, causes threat or causes harm to that person, to that person's body, because of their political beliefs, this should be something that is charged as a hate crime. And if we do consistently charge this as a hate crime nationally, consistently, as I said, then I think that a lot of this stuff will stop. We won't see too many Antifa members showing up to Trump rallies beating people up. They might show up and protest. They might show up and stand on the sidelines and might have some like verbal arguments or whatever. All well and good. But I think that we will see the threat of attack lessened substantially if these things do get persistently and consistently charged as hate crimes, which is a form of restoring order. Another example that I give a lot is the fact that a lot of people in the black community, in black neighborhoods in the country, don't feel safe sending their kids outside to play. They don't feel safe, sending their young son, 4-year-old boy, out in the front yard to play on his bike or something like this, because they are fearful of him getting hit by a stray bullet. A lot of these women in these black communities are fearful of walking down the alley by themselves because they're afraid of being raped, afraid of being attacked, afraid of being robbed. A lot of people don't want to go out at night in these black cities in America because of the high crime rates. And so what's a way to restore order there? What's a way to restore the liberty there? Well, you have to restore order, right? You have to restore order. Liberty can only come from order. You have to have law and order. And they're working very hard to destroy law and order, which is going to first and foremost affect the black community, because we know that poverty and these sorts of things don't affect the white community the same. You don't see these levels of crime happening in the poorest white county, which is Owsley County in America. You don't see these levels of crime, these shooting homicides, things like this happen in the poorest trailer parks in America. You just don't see this happen. Poverty does not affect everyone the same way. So, first of all, it must be something else. But the police leaving these areas because of this anti-police rhetoric is only going to cause more chaos and more disorder, which is then going to lead to less liberty for the people living within these cities. And so this is these are both examples that I give of describing or attempting to describe what I mean when I say liberty can only come from order. Let's continue on. It says Kathleen Jennings, Delaware Attorney General, said that Winslow and Amy's actions were un-American. Violence in any form is unacceptable, but harming another person, let alone a child, because of the expression of their views betrays their principles on which our country was founded, she said. Jennings, a Democrat, who has joined in several lawsuits against the Trump administration. Free speech, free assembly, and free expression are sacred, no matter whether we agree with the opinions expressed, and especially when we don't, she said. The video of the incident went viral after being posted online by Students for Trump. In the clip, the two women were seeing damaging signs supporting Trump and taking a red MAGA hat. We actually have the full video, I think, up at the top of this page for those of you who haven't seen it. Okay, so that's the hat.
Touch my hat.
It sort of briefly shows it, and I hate how this does this when I pause this, but the kid's sitting right there.
That's somebody else's hat. Take that hat.
Get your hat back, baby. Look at what you just did to my son. Get your hat back, baby. Get your hat back, baby.
I just wanted to sit on the. We don't give a
Mom likes Trump.
Give me back my hat. 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 Give me back my hat.
I'm telling you right now.
You're gonna steal my property? Yep. I'll follow you to your car and get your license plate.
And I'm walking. I live in town.
911.
You want me to call 911?
How your baby sounds.
You want me to call 911?
Heave ho!
Taylor!
Heave ho!
Taylor! These people right here are taking your hat.
The big chick
They
here, she
attacked
looks
my
like
son. I have it on video. I have it on video.
I don't know, like an Amazonian lesbian or something, like a very hardened lesbian.
Yeah, you want to try me?
They wouldn't do that if the dad was there.
You want to try me? I got the whole thing on video. I got the whole thing on video. Don't attack. Oh, you gonna punch him? You gonna punch him? Oh, yeah, you gonna punch? Oh, you wanna sucker punch me? You wanna sucker punch me? Take my hat. Take my hat, baby. You wanna sucker punch me?
Someone says, "What is wrong with these people?" Yeah, there's a lot wrong with it. Honestly, like in my opinion, I mean, you shouldn't be taking your kids to like political events. I just don't think that it's the right thing to do. I wouldn't do that, you know, because you put them at risk, especially with the way that things are going right now. Especially with like if and under any other normal circumstances, it would probably be fine, but it's not really a good idea when you have, you know, when you see these things that are happening, when you see how people react to a Trump hat. It's almost like a bull reacting to the red color. You know, these people are like, there's no other better way to describe it. I mean, these people are triggered by this red hat, almost like a bull is triggered by the color red, and they just come charging, and it's just not a great idea to bring your kids to these political events. But you know, hey, I mean, it's interesting that these people are being charged with hate crimes. I mean, I think that the charges there's a lot of other charges as well, and you know, who knows? I mean, I hope that they are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But typically, what we see from things like this is that, you know, a lot of these charges get drawn down. So my goal is to eventually become a powerhouse of truth. That is why it is imperative that you check the links in the description below and go to either Patreon and Subscribestar and support us for at least the cost of a cup of coffee a month. We already have writers writing for TheRedElephants.com, but we'd like to bring on more in the near future. By the way, at TheRedElephants.com, you can also find t-shirts, hats, and other products. Check the links in the description below. It helps us out tremendously.